Warning, the following may or may not be complete bull as my memory is very hazy going back 2011. Then enjoy.
Wow, so you at my house, you look like trash. I agree. Alright, I just got off work like 20 minutes ago. Give us a break. It's 1 p.m. I start at 5 a.m. Give us a break. So, before I get into the point of the video, I want to tell a little bit of a story. Last 10 minutes of my work, I was getting, what's the word? Not like complaints, but suggestions about another team member because I am a team leader at my store. I'm trying to fix up my beard as I go. Just leave it. Try to fix up my beard, just leave it. Yeah, I was getting suggestions for another team member, writing them down in the diary, preparing to go. And let's close this up. No more cicadas. No more cicadas ruining our videos. Now you guys will have to listen to me. Yeah, last 10 minutes, I was writing stuff in the work diary, just for the next person who would come in, bit of suggestions for them. And I hear, code blue to the checkouts. Code blue for Coles is a medical emergency. So, everybody goes to the checkouts just to see what's going on. It's like, usually when you hear code blue, you think, someone's had a heart attack. Someone slipped over and banged their head on something, which has happened at my store once. While it was raining. And it was raining today, still is. Hope it goes away, because I prefer the sun. But you think stuff like that, and when I got there, it was like, I found out, it was like, some old dude got tied in the legs. I guess that's like, okay, I guess you should call code blue, maybe an ambulance, because you don't know exactly what's going on, but it's like, he's a regular customer. And the point of the story is that he got dropped off by someone. He was dropped off by someone, and that person came looking for him, and they couldn't find him in the store, so they drove off, and they came up to me and they're like, hey boss, you see an old man walking around? Like, I told them I see a lot of old men walking around here. Which is true. I live near a retirement center. What does that say about me? I don't know. But yeah, and as I saw the old man inside and I was going to go out and tell the guy, like, hey, I found the old man, but he'd already driven off. So I was like, he left this guy that he was clearly responsible for just in the store. And the old guy, he's a regular, he usually calls a taxi and then complains that it won't come fast enough. So he calls this taxi, like, before the medical emergency. Now the taxi's outside waiting for him, and he's fucking tied in the legs. It's like, come on, old dude, you're like 2 minutes away from getting out of here. Oh, man. Always excitement at work, always excitement. Was that story fun? Wasn't fun for me. It was more like, you hear medical emergency and you fear the worst, so you have to rush out and see what's going on. And then it's like, oh, some guy got tired. Garbage. So, see you at my house, bidding you welcome. I'm trying to pad out these videos as much as I can. It's a thing I'm doing for John Carter, who said that I'll have to make videos under 20 minutes long now. Not true, I have a timer right here telling me how long my video is. That's not getting turned off until it's 20 minutes long. So this video is going to be about the almighty PlayStation Vita. This is going to be my thoughts and opinions leading up to the release of the console, or the handheld, and then the games that I originally bought for it, and the games that came out in the first year, which was actually only less than a month, because this came out December 12th, I'm pretty sure, of 2011, and I bought this, if not first day, first week, because I was really hyped for this. I saw all of the cool features. I was like, it's going to be like the PSP, except with PlayStation 3 level graphics and a second thumbstick, so I won't have to do like a claw motion when I'm playing Monster Hunter. Anyone who's played Monster Hunter on the PSP, you know what I'm talking about. So, yeah, turn it on. This is still my original console. It's not saying handheld. My original handheld. I bought a case for it ages and ages ago. The case is fantastic. It's just like a rubber thing. It doesn't feel massively nice in my hands, but I've dropped this so many times, no damage. And the only real problem I've ever had with this is sometimes the memory card won't read properly, so I'll have to take it out and put it back in, which unfortunately the PlayStation Vita, I remember this being a big thing upon its release. This thing needed a memory card to work. This would not play games unless you had a memory card. And it was a real turnoff for a lot of people, because I remember the price of this was pretty pricey. This was over $300 for a handheld. And the memory card as well was at least $50. And you couldn't put in just a standard SD card. You needed, in fact, let me show you what happens. Is there anything in here right now? I have to take the case off to do all of this. But I was very hyped leading up to this, even knowing these facts, because I just thought, well, yeah, but it's going to get so many cool games. It'll be like the PSP. And I have Corpse Party Blood Drive in here. Not a good game. Very bad game, actually. I'm not sure what people see in the series. It's bland. It's not very good. For a horror game, it has too many cutscenes. And I get it, it's a visual novel, they're not for me. So, cool thing about it is you have the touchscreen on the front, so press play on there. The main character. Pretty sure she was the main character. Yeah. So we have the game starting up, but then check this out. The memory card has been removed. Do not remove the memory card while a system is in use. If you do, the data may become corrupt, the system will restart. And more than once, I had this happen during gameplay, so I lost, not massive amounts of, progress, because I would save often, but it was often enough for it to be an annoyance. If I was playing this hardcore every day, it would happen once per week. Which, honest to God, it may be a problem with my system. This is a release day system. This is the Wi-Fi model. I remember there was a Wi-Fi and a 4G model that came out. The 4G was supposedly much better, and I remember they made the PSP 2000, which was entirely 4G, I'm pretty sure, so that's pretty cool. And to this day, I'm pretty sure you can still get free games with PlayStation Plus for this, because I remember downloading them up until a couple of months ago, and then I got a message saying that this and a PlayStation 3 would no longer be supported in PlayStation Plus after a certain time. I'm like, oh man, that sucks. I guess it's just not worth it to keep the online running anymore. I'm sure you can still access the online store, it's just, I guess, PlayStation Plus, and I guess that would mean, multiplayer would be turned off? I don't know. I'll have to look that up. But one of the really cool features of this when it came out was it used to be the PlayStation 3 link, but the PS4 link. So you could throw your PlayStation 4 screen onto this, and it wouldn't last very long. I think if you were using Remote Play, which is what it was called, the system's battery was about 3 hours, and it was only about 4 to 5 hours normally, so unfortunately it wasn't very long for a battery. And nowadays, you get phone batteries that last all day when they're turned on, so it's back then, I'm pretty sure this was out when the 3DS was also out, and the 3DS had a similar battery life, so it was really rough going for people who wanted to play on the go. It was you want to play on the go, but you can't play too much. It's okay, what if I want to take this on a plane, a long plane ride like I'm going to take in a bit? I could not play this for the entire duration. I'd have to turn it off. Otherwise, it would run out of battery, so yeah. There were always things going against it, but I was still hyped. This was at a time when I would get so hyped for games. I mean, this 2011, the same year, I bought Batman Arkham City brand new the day of release. To be fair, that was a great game. I'm glad I bought it. I got my money's worth out of it. I played that for hours and hours and hours, but it's I was much more inclined to make impulsive purchases back then, so I bought the PlayStation Vita when it came out. And when I looked at the launch lineup, I'm like, this is a good lineup. So basically, I looked up what games came out in 2011, and I'm pretty sure the PlayStation Vita was out for a full year before it came out here. And so this probably isn't a full lineup, but I remember these were the games that came out with the system, and you had your choice of these games. So these are the ones I had, or I eventually bought all of these. And I want to talk a bit more about the system before I start showing those. Actually, this is all going to be off the cuff. I'm not editing any of this. I'm lazy. But the PlayStation Vita, a lot of people don't really know about it anymore because it's not really hyped up by Sony anymore. You don't get to see games for the PlayStation Vita like E3 and stuff. Where it's like, Nintendo is really good for their handhelds. They show so many upcoming 3DS releases at like E3 and Tokyo Game Show and the big gaming expos, like the ones that a lot of the hardcore gamers watch get super hyped up. I don't really get hyped up by them anymore. I haven't even watched it for like 3 years running, but yeah. For me, it's like, look at all this. Look at all this stuff I have to play. All these PlayStation 3 games over here, Wii U, GameCube over here. It's like I have a lot of games to keep me occupied for a bit. I'm not worrying too much about like super hyped up games. Like in years past, I would have went out and pre-ordered the new God of War, but now I'm just gonna wait. It'll be super cheap in like 4 or 5 years. I'll play it then. It'll be new to me. But as I said, back then I was much more inclined to impulsive purchases, so I remember at E3 that year, they showed a lot of stuff for the Vita. They were saying it had a rear touchscreen, which sounded just weird to me. But I saw the launch lineup and I thought, these are some good games. It's like, we have... I don't want to talk about them just yet. And other people thought they were good games too because the sales figures of the PlayStation Vita at first were really, really good. Like, I'm talking really good. This thing, I looked up online. I'm not sure if this is entirely accurate, but in the first year in Japan, it sold 500,000 systems. And in the first couple of months worldwide, it's sold another like 600,000. So within like the first year and a bit, it had already sold over 1 million systems, which, yeah, that's pretty good. I mean, I'm not sure if that's a massive amount in the scheme of things. I don't think so, because like he's look at like the PlayStation 2 and it eventually sold over 100 million units. But for back then, I thought it was really good, and I was like, man, a lot of people are buying this. I'm going to be able to play like multiplayer and stuff with people. All of my friends are going to have the system. And a couple of my friends bought it. I do know a handful of people who own PlayStation Vitas, and I have seen people in public playing them, but just not as much as the 3DS, and I think that was really the Vita's downfall in the end. But we're not here to talk about the Vita's downfall just yet. I can save that for another video. For now, we are talking about, and this is the very main point of the video, and what's going to continue on in next video in the series, if I make it, the 2011 launch lineup for the PlayStation Vita. 100% correct, but probably not. Alright, so I'll show you just the first game I bought. I might be missing one. For some reason, I remember Unit 13 being a release game, but when I looked up online, it said it came out in 2012, so maybe it wasn't. But I didn't buy that one on release anyway. The first game I had for my PlayStation Vita, the game it came with in the bundle, was Uncharted Golden Abyss. And I thought this was a really good game. It was like, I was playing this and I was like, man, this is just as good as a PlayStation 3 game, but it's on a handheld. And that was really my opinion of the PlayStation Vita, was that it was like, wow, this thing has amazing graphics. It plays really well. And as far as like the storyline goes, this is not as good as the others. It's not made by Naughty Dog. It is made by Ben, the studio, which I could not tell you what else they've made. And honestly, I couldn't really tell you the main story of this one. Yeah, I don't know, like, a lost city of gold, like, I'm pretty sure they visited one of those in the first game. Or at least the second game, I remember. Yeah, it's like, I don't really remember much about this one, and I remember it, when it came out, it was like a solid 7 out of 10, which I thought was really good. But, yeah, Uncharted Golden Abyss, it was a good game. It was not the best in the series. It's actually probably the weakest in the series. I haven't played the new one where he plays the two women, but as far as the games I have played, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and this one, this was probably the weakest out of the 5. So it was, which was fine for a handheld. You know, you don't expect the best game from a handheld. Yeah, that was that. And oddly enough, do I still have it? Dude, I must. Actually, yeah, I'm pretty sure I bought that one later on. Because the next game I bought was Virtua Fighter, or Virtua Tennis 4 World Tour Edition, because I remember soon after this came out, it was super cheap. Because I'm pretty sure they just had a bunch of extra copies of this, so they were clearancing out for under $20. So I thought, yeah, I'll pick up a copy. It's a brand new game for a brand new system. Virtua Tennis is fun, and I played this a lot. It was good. If you are looking for a Virtua Tennis game on the go, definitely check this out. It's good arcade fun. Yeah, I'm just going to be giving my general opinions on these. Now, I remember some other games coming out. There were a lot of ports. There were a lot of ports coming out for the Vita early on, and a lot of the games I will show will be ports of like bigger games, and unfortunately they don't do that much anymore. But also it might be a fortunate thing, because a lot of people don't like handheld ports of games. They for some reason expect them to be as good as their console counterparts, which I can understand. You want it to at least be I think if you buy a handheld version of a game, you want it to be a bit different, not just the console game but with crappier graphics. So I remember Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 came out. Yes, this is a printed off label. A lot of these I got from EB Games, their online website. And then just even have the dimensions for what I need to print out. And then they just would send me a loose cartridge, which I was always annoyed with, because it's like I refuse to believe people threw out these cases, you know? Like, who are you trying to fool here? So that came out. Rayman Origins came out, which is actually a really good version. Like, I'm not sure exactly, but this probably plays just as well as the console games, and it has touchscreen capabilities, so it's like, yeah, that's really cool. So I thought that was something. It really showed off the strength of the Vita, which was the touchscreen, which was just awesome. And Ben 10 Galactic Racing, which was what it was. It's a subpar Mario Kart clone. I'm still waiting for Crash, or I think it was just called Crash Bandicoot Racing. Another one of those. Those were really fun. Another one of the games I got early on was Everybody's Golf. And I just really enjoyed this game. It was a lot of fun. It seems like with every PlayStation console that gets released, you get a copy of Everybody's Golf, because it comes out in every system. It's so easy to make another game, and it's a lot of fun. It's like the golf version of Virtua Tennis 4, in that it's a arcadey style of sports game, so it's really good for on the go. It's like a hardcore simulation. I think for a handheld, that's more what you want out of a sports game. You want more of an NBA Jam or an NBA Hang Time, and less of a NBA 2K whatever. This one I haven't played. Dynasty Warriors next. I just remember it coming out. I remember getting maybe some bad reviews. I remember this maybe getting like 5 out of 10, so maybe this isn't very good. Another one I had early on, Asphalt Injection. I got a text message. I'm going to check what it is. I'm professional, pausing in the middle of a video to check a text message. Hey, that could be important. Yeah, Asphalt Injection. I remember this one getting not so great reviews either, but really enjoying it. This was one that I did buy early on. I think it was about 2012 when I bought this. A lot of these I bought in 2012, but they were like, I'm pretty sure they were released in 2011. These were just the games I remember coming out really early on, and then when I looked them up, it would say like, released 2011, you know? So Asphalt Injection, I remember this being a lot of fun. Like, you could drift by using the gyroscope technology, so you would turn the handheld and the actual car would steer, and that was really cool to me. And once again, you could use like the touchscreen stuff. So it was a game that took advantage of that stuff, which was cool. I really liked that stuff, even though nowadays a lot of that stuff seems gimmicky. a lot of that back then was really fun. It was like, go back to the release of the original Wii and tell them that the motion is a gimmick. It's like, yeah, okay, but it's fun. So who cares? One that I bought years after it was released, just because this was one that always maintained its value. And even to this day, I don't think I've found a very cheap copy of this, so I had to pay for this one. Touch My Katamari. Weird name. But yeah, this was just a Katamari game on the go, and you could use touch controls for it. And in my opinion, this actually worked better than on a console, because I always found the control scheme of Katamari to be kind of lacking. I know it's supposed to be a game that you can pick up and play, but adds challenge because of the controls. But I always thought that the controls were a hindrance and not like a something that added to the game. So for this to have touch controls, I felt it worked a lot better. And of course, if you don't agree with me, that's fine. But this was a lot of fun. And even back then, they weren't releasing these with manuals, I remember, which sucked. Yeah. I remember this one. This was one that I actually saw in store when it came out. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure this was a release title. And Katamari games. Give it up to the Katamari games. Where's the next one of those? Those were so much fun. I'm pretty sure I still need to get, what is it, Katamari Forever? Where's my K's on the old PlayStation 3 collection? Yeah, no chance I have Katamari Forever. That's one I would love to get. Another one I had very early on, this one was a lot of fun. This one was so good. This is a genre that I thought was really, really good for the PlayStation Vita and handhelds in general, which was like isometric dungeon crawling games. It is Dungeon Hunter. I had a lot of fun with this. This was one that you could play co-op, and this was one that I was hoping I would get to play co-op with my friends when they got a Vita, which they never did, but this was a lot of fun. I'm pretty sure the original Dungeon Hunter was on the PlayStation Portable or something. I'm pretty sure this is not the first Dungeon Hunter game at the very least, but hey, this one came with a manual. How awesome. Black and white, but it's still a manual. But yeah, this one was a lot of fun. I remember it being very, very good. I never finished it, but I did get pretty far in. I played this for about like 15, 20 hours before I got bored, and I thought that was really good for what I paid. And lastly, one that I got not super close to its release, but I remember it coming out and thinking this looked really cool. It was Army Corps of Hell. And I don't remember if this was exclusively on the PlayStation Vita. I remember a lot of games on the PlayStation Vita originally were ports, but this was a cool game. It was like it was like Pikmin, except you're evil. So you have all of your minions, and then you just have the minions attack people instead of like helping you. Yeah, it's like, as the fallen king of hell, take control of an army of 100 loyal goblin soldiers, and like every goblin soldier was like fully animated. It looked so good for the time. Like 2011 on a handheld, you were not getting this kind of game anywhere else. So I was like, it would really tell me that the Vita was going to be something awesome, and then it just never managed to be what it could be. It got a lot of good games. It is still getting a lot of good games, but the Vita just never reached its full potential. Not like the 3DS did, but yeah, it's a shame. But this was a good game on the PlayStation Vita, and there will be a lot of very good games that I will tell you about on the PlayStation Vita that were a lot of fun. It's like, for all of the memes saying that the PlayStation Vita has no games, there are a lot of good games on the PlayStation Vita, and I certainly don't have all of them, but I do have a fair amount, so yeah. Just for the launch lineup, this was what I remember coming out. So when I remember coming out, I bought not all of these games within the first year of release, but within the first 2 years of release, I had all of these games. So I was definitely on board of the hype train of the PlayStation Vita, and with early on strong sales and a lot of good titles being announced, for me, it was only a matter of time before the PlayStation Vita skyrocketed in popularity, with games coming out like Tearaway and what's that other one? Yeah, now you're kind of seeing what I'm talking about. I just can't remember. I just remember a lot of good games coming out for it. There was like a Resistance game coming out, a Call of Duty game coming out. I'm looking at my shelf now. There was a Ridge Racer coming out. There was like, and you had the games that like weren't coming out on anything else. Like I remember Gravity Falls or Gravity Rush. I remember when Gravity Rush came out, everyone loved Gravity Rush that had a Vita, and they were saying you need to get a Vita to play this. And then eventually they put it on the PlayStation 4. So it was like, yeah, it was like the exclusivity of the Vita was not like it's properly exclusive. It's not like where you need to own a 3DS in order to play most of the games on the 3DS. If you bought a game for the Vita, it was probably going to come to later on in a couple of years, the game was just on Steam or something, or it came out on the PlayStation 4 as a remaster. Like Danganronpa, perfect example of 3 Danganronpa games, awesome games, very unique, very wacky Japanese kind of games. Like a lot of reading needed, but they were fun games. I love the mystery kind of aspects of them and the Saw kind of feel of them. You like the movie Saw, but it was they eventually came out in other ways, like on the like on Steam. They eventually came out on Steam, and you just didn't need to buy a Vita or own a Vita to play them. So, yeah, you will see more of those in the next episode. This is Secret House bidding you farewell, and I'm not sure when I'll do the next episode of this, but it was fun doing 2011, the year of the PlayStation Vita. I'd love to do more of these. Like, I ran this by my girlfriend, and she thought it was a good idea where I look at the best-selling games of each year and give my thoughts about them. So I might do some of that as well. So can I say so anymore? Probably. All right, Secret House bidding you guys farewell. Next episode will be 2012, which was, in my opinion, the best year for the PlayStation Vitas. The best games came out for it, and the most games came out for it. So that'll be it. Have a good one, guys. See yous.
And that's all, folks.